Hi YouTube. Just wanted to give you a little bit of a kind of a consumer warning, so to speak, about Cooper tires. Just kind of here's some things to consider before you make a Cooper tire purchase. So forgive me, it's a little lengthy, but I'll do my best to kind of explain this as easily as I can. And forgive me for looking down. I just got some notes here. I just had a recently disappointing experience with Cooper, and I just wanted to share it with the car and truck forums and community. Background on me is that I do about 99% of my own work on cars and home and motorcycles and such, with my own meticulous maintenance and record keeping. And I belong to about 40 or 42 different forums for cars, SUVs, and motorcycles. And so I just wanted to share my experience. I first installed a set of Cooper tires on one of my SUVs, 2003 Toyota Sequoia with 307,000 miles. I installed them about 2 years ago, and the tires seem to perform on par with other brands in the past that I've used, Michelin, Firestone, Hankook. The Coopers were the Discover AT3s. So they seemed to perform okay, but they wore down very quickly. In fact, almost exactly half the mileage and warranty was supposed to. So I got about 32,000 miles out of them, and that's with having a new steering rack that I put on, ball joints, fresh alignment, and I think that's it. With the steering rack was the inner and outer tie rods as well. And then during the intervals of 5,000 mile rotations, I also would check, all the components and even use 303 rubber protecting all the bushings and everything. So that's the first source of big disappointment with those Cooper Discover AT3s, is they just lasted half the mileage for no apparent reason. The second source of disappointment was with corporate and their customer service. So I inquired about what I needed to do in order to get any kind of warranty rebate from Cooper or credit towards another set of tires. And the history of this is that I had purchased from like an online vendor, distributor. They had an eBay store, but also their own website. Had them sent to me, and then I had a local shop install them. So I went to a different a different local shop to have the new set of tires that I ended up purchasing installed. So when I asked about Cooper, I contacted them about 2 weeks or so before I actually needed to make a tire purchase. And they wouldn't speak with me directly when I asked about the process. I contacted them, like I said, 2 weeks before I had ordered or installed any tires, and I wasn't sure if I was going to get another set of Coopers or not. I was still on the fence. So the response I got from them was just to have my tire dealer contact them directly. And I tried 3 times in total. I kept asking them, could you just tell me how the process works? What is necessary? What do I need to do? What do I need to prepare for? And each time they just said, oh, just have them call us, have them call us. And then the last time I even asked them directly if there was any reason why they were refusing to let me know how this process worked. I was trying to be as mindful as possible about being prepared and paperwork or whatever needed to happen. And they just wouldn't communicate with me. So I decided to order a set of Hankooks. I had a prior set before, and I had good experience with them, and set up a time for the local shop to install them. So then I contacted my online retailer who I purchased the tires from, and they said they would start to look into it. Some time went by. I didn't hear anything from anybody, a couple weeks I think, and I had the new tires installed. The installer at that time, the new independent shop, said, what do we need to do with the old Cooper tires? Sometimes you got to send them back, sometimes not. I said, well, I contacted them. I didn't hear anything. They wouldn't tell me anything. The tire retailer I purchased it from said they were looking into it. I did a little bit of my own research and determined, all right, it would be best if I at least took pictures of the tire depth gauge. All the tires were between 2/32 and 3/32. I tried to have all the documentation that I could. And as far as I know, my tire installer was just going to throw them in the pile for disposal. So I then learned that that the process included the tire retailer they needed to contact Cooper directly and submit paperwork or whatever. And again, I'm kind of pushing and nudging them. I'm pushing and nudging Cooper. Still don't really get any answers from anybody. So I later learned after the old tires, what I thought were already disposed of, that Cooper needs those tires back in order to inspect them and track the manufacturing process or issues. And I completely understand that. They need to see the tires. You know, I thought they were going to take the word of my mechanic and the actual tread depth readings, but I get that they needed to see the tires. I checked with my mechanic to see if he still had them. He said he didn't send them away yet. So I was like, oh, good. Maybe I have a chance at these going back to Cooper. My main issue with Cooper, though, was that they never explained any of this to me to begin with. And had they, I might have been able to make arrangements to have them, you know, delivered wherever they need to. So the tires were still, you know, in the pile at the installers. And essentially the online tire supplier who I bought them from, they just kind of dropped out of the communication. They didn't contact Cooper directly, and at that time I was finally able to nudge Cooper enough to respond to me. Cooper was willing to communicate with me, but they wouldn't take responsibility for the claim at all until the tires were returned. And I had no way of getting them the tires because of my work schedule. I work 12-hour days, and I don't even know how I'd coordinate the back and forth and trying to get to the shop and get the tires and deliver them wherever they needed to go, and in order to do this during any kind of business hours. So I spent lots of time on the phone and email to Cooper, my local tire shop, or it wasn't a tire shop, independent mechanic, and even where the tires were supposed to go to some Cooper dealer. And we're pretty much at an impasse. So the shop who I got to install my tires said that they're not allowed to deliver any of those tires to the Cooper dealer. The Cooper dealer said that they can't accept them from anybody but me, and Cooper obviously won't do anything until they get the tires. So I said to the local Cooper dealer, I said, I can get the tires to you like on a Sunday, you know, I can drop them off out front, I can put a note attached to it, I can do the paperwork by email, I can fax it, whatever we need to do, I can give you all the documentation of everything. And their position was, no, you need to bring them here to us. We need to see them when you drop them off. We need to see that it's you. We need to hold physically the documentation you have, which is just odd to me in this day and age. We can't do things by email or PDF or fax or whatever. So then I reached out to Cooper to say, I need some help here. I can't get these tires delivered, and had you told me about that, I could have had them put in the back of my vehicle and then maybe coordinated my schedule with enough advance notice to try to get them to that dealer. So Cooper just kind of maintained that they'll process the claim once they have the tires, but nobody there is willing to accept any responsibility for any of this or to help in the process. I was trying to ask them to contact the local Cooper dealer to see if they can come pick up the tires from my installer, and nobody would do any of that. So the tires, in theory, are still there and ready to be delivered to Cooper, but Cooper's not helping me get them there, and nobody's got any compassion or sympathy or anything. The frustrating part, again, to me in all of this is that if Cooper had informed me of any of this when I had asked them 3 times, maybe we could have avoided all this and figured out a way to make this work. So at the end of the day, I'm missing out an opportunity for $300 back of a warranty refund, money that could be very helpful to me and my family right now. And then also the hassle of the tires only lasted 30,000 miles or 32,000 miles with meticulous maintenance. And that shocked me because Cooper's reputation is pretty good, and you know, all the other tires I've had have lasted 55 to 65,000 miles on that same vehicle. So I was a bit surprised. So thanks for taking the time to listen. I know that was a bit lengthy. I just felt like it was important to share my experience and review that not only Cooper tires, but the lack of customer service on their part and attentiveness. And I'm just hoping maybe it can save you guys a little bit of frustration, or help you in what tires you guys want to purchase. So thanks, and take care and be safe.